Hey there, John. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir, I do.
I turned
Yes,
mine
sir, I
down.
do. What's up? Yeah, I got
Oh,
you. Yep.
there's Jen.
What's up, Jen?
Hey, John.
How you guys doing this evening?
All right. Baron's sleeping, so
Is
sure
he?
he'll make an appearance at some point.
Right on. Right on. Boy, woke
Yeah,
up to a little bit of snow here. Jeepers, a couple mornings in a row here now already.
I had woke up the other day and I was like, "Did we get that much frost?" And then, nope, it's snow.
disgusting. Well, welcome everyone. This really is got no plan. It's just basically getting people together, just review the last couple months, anything that happened, anything anybody got any questions about. I do have one of those from the last trip. Uh, Note for those of you who have worn shoes and whatnot and have damaged feet, there's something. There's an indication missing for damaged feet. Hi, eyes. Hi, Sandra. Um, yeah, this did not start the way I expected it to because it was supposed to play my intro video.
Yeah.
Yay, StreamYard.
Uh, I wonder if I can. Well, it's yeah. I wonder if I can figure out how to play that. Um,
You could
let's
probably
see.
put us in the background. I know that when Nikki does her shows, you're on prior, and then she'll put us in the background, and then she'll start her intro.
Yeah, I
Put
probably
us
botched
backstage.
this.
I'm sorry, not in the background.
Is there at least some bacon in the break in the green room?
Well, probably not. Didn't get any
Uh,
made. So I
Blacker.
wonder if I can. No, do this work?
The dust trails whisper secrets to my feet, a winding path where earth and sky compete. The sun is low, but the spark is high. The trackway calls beneath the open sky, finding the trackway where dreams collide, through the wilderness where shadows hide. The heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way. A footprint older than the mountain's crest guides me onward toward the unexpressed. Every step a riddle, every step a clue. Through an ancient bond the soul feels new, finding the trackway where dreams collide, through the wilderness where shadows hide. Heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way. The rocks soft hum the melody of time, a chorus carved by nature's old design. The wind it hums a song inside my chest, saying find your journey, forget the rest. Finding the trackway where dreams collide, through the wilderness where shadows hide. The heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way.
And there you have it.
Very good. That was
Very
awesome.
nice.
Love it.
Okay.
Baron says he likes it. He got up for it.
There you go.
There he is. What's up, Baron? What's up, buddy? Roof,
And
Yeah.
I just want to kind of just take a moment and reflect all the people that 2024 got to meet and all the memories that we got to make. Yeah. To my friends, Ada, Lisa, Joe, Ron,
What's up, bud?
Tim P, Stan, all you people. Anybody I'm forgetting? I'm sorry, I tried to put everybody in that collage.
There we go.
Music. So this is really not so much about any one adventure or anything. It's really about you guys because you guys made last year 2024 pretty special. And I know we're like in April now, but I just wanted to say thank you all.
Yeah. Well, much thanks to you too, sir.
I don't think I've ever met you.
Yeah, who are you?
Hey, Jen, who's that up in the left-hand corner?
Left
Some
hand.
dude.
I don't recognize this guy. Who is that guy?
He sent me a link, so here I
Oh,
am.
man. Nice, cool cat. Yeah.
Take that.
There he is. Coming out of the tent.
Last time I seen Bill, he full beard and long hair. And wow.
Well, I tell you what, since I got taken out the knee, things haven't been too great.
Well, I'm still rooting for you.
Yeah, should be getting into an MRI here pretty soon. It's only taken 6 months.
Now I'm having knee surgery the 28th.
Yeah.
You do, bud? You have to get knee surgery as well?
Yeah, 28th.
Oh, well, good luck with
Yeah,
that.
I've been limping around. It's killing my mushroom hunting, I'm telling you. Man.
Yeah, right on.
Come on, let's see. Come
You know,
on.
last year, was in spring, May? I believe it was May of last year. We were over in Bolton Landing alongside of Lake George, over here in the Adirondacks. And we were on a construction site. And right along Route 9, and right on the side of the road, I had picked three rather large morels.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't believe I found them right there. They were beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't often see them up in the woods or anything. I mean,
really?
to see them on a job site, it was pretty
It's
cool.
kind of neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going for about $80 a pound last year here in Ohio.
That's after they're dried.
The problem is I love eating them too much.
Yeah, right on. Right
Yeah,
on. Yeah,
we definitely
I ate
seen-
them up too.
Yep.
Definitely
Good
seen
stuff.
the mushroom hunters out and about.
Yeah, me too.
So Mrs. Trackway is right over here.
What's up, Deb?
Hey,
Freya
Deb.
now. Can I have my socks back? Freya is playing her I just stole something from you game. So
Jen, how you been? Ain't seen you in a while.
Hanging in there. Started working a new job. Baron
Oh, did you?
took off on his long lead to go see one of his friends. Sprained my 3 fingers. Took a big gouge out of my thumb with his rope.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
so we have a
Little fur missile.
I guess I'll be seeing all you guys here in what, early May?
Yep.
Me and the boss.
April 30th. Well, we'll be there April 30th. We'll be there a couple days ahead of everybody else.
All righty.
And then there'll be a couple guys coming in the next day. Jan, you're more than welcome to extend.
I'm going to be there Friday, probably Friday afternoon, and Angel won't be there till later at evening. So.
That's what time I'm getting there, Friday afternoon as well.
Okay, good. Yeah, I haven't ever met you. I want to look forward to it.
Right on, man.
I'm
Can't
trying to-
wait to meet you in person.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if I can get Friday off or not. 'Cause I'm
Oh, really?
scheduled to work Friday. So
Yeah, Angie started a new job. That's why she can't get there till Friday evening. So, but
yeah, well, I
that way,
work till 9 at night. So by the time I'd get out there, it'd be
oh
midnight.
wow, yeah, it will. But me and Bill can resume our competition. Who can fall down the most?
When you're good at something,
Right
right?
on.
Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
I wanted to ask Deb if she filmed you falling in the lake.
No, she didn't. She was actually up at when that happened.
Oh,
Well,
really?
yeah, we're flooded. Um, Salt Fork right now has got uh, dock closures going. When we went, it was actually a fishing trip. When we went fishing, we went down farther south, and the water was so high that I had to climb up the dock, and the dock was like this. Well, I had to launch my boat, and I was alone.
Oh, wow.
So I climbed up that dock, and I launched, and I came back down. I knew I had to be careful because it was wet, but I lost it, and I went in the lake, and
My good Lord.
You
yeah,
didn't get hurt, did you? Did you get hurt?
well, I about broke. I think I messed something up because it felt like I had broken my arm. And the guy, of course, some dad out there, kids get out of the lake. There's crocs in the lake. Um,
Well,
I
shoot,
said,
I feel bad for laughing at you now.
it's all right. I was like, I came all the way down here to fish. I don't care if my arm's broken. I'm going fishing.
That's the spirit.
I went out and I fished all night. And then when we got back to the tent, or I got back to the tent that night, everything was so wet. She was having trouble starting the fire. I got a fire going, but then I was just in misery all night long. I thought that whole arm, shoulder was all busted. And I got up the next day and I was like, screw it, I'm going fishing. And I went right back down on the lake and went fishing. Well, meanwhile, she woke up to a whoop. So that was the first time she had actually heard a whoop before I did.
Oh, really?
And yeah, we had heard. And my first time I'd ever heard a whoop was with you guys down in West Virginia. He's fine. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was the first time we ever heard our first whoop was and then we came home and I heard it on my audio recorder and I called Angie at work. Say, you won't believe this, we got 2 whoops back to back. And she went to download it and erased everything. My very first one.
Oh, goodness.
Well,
But it wasn't her fault, of course not.
When it comes to whoops,
I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh, there's
Shit happens.
you got Nikki down there.
So, Bill, did you catch any fish when you went down there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wasn't coming off the water without
Hey, there's
catching fish.
Nikki.
Hey guys,
Howdy, Nikki.
Hey, what's up, Nikki?
Hey,
Hey,
Nikki.
Nikki.
So
you.
well, I haven't been doing a whole lot more other than working on material since I kind of felt reinvigorated here lately, and I've
good.
been pretty much working around the clocks, driving certain people nuts. But
Certain people.
we're figuring stuff out. Like
Busy
driving the
man.
wife nuts. Yeah. And then, but anyhow, and like I said, Nikki, I don't know if you caught the opening there, the video at the opening.
No, my computer was all.
No.
I improperly shut down, so I had to redo everything.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I ran a montage at the beginning for an intro. I'll run it at the outro too. But yeah, just a whole new system. Just the kids and Deb have got me set up now with a system. We have a system now that we can take out in the woods with us, so that I can download stuff on the fly, and we can analyze stuff right then and there. So
So, you're bringing a laptop out.
Good.
no, I'm bringing this little tiny computer not much bigger than this speaker, and
Very nice.
and double monitors and everything. And we got all kinds of power. So
Good.
yeah,
That's awesome.
the game has been upped. So this year. We get the opportunities that we've had in years past. Uh,
Make up your
should,
mind.
should be pretty dynamic. And for Jen, we got working radios.
Hey.
So this time when we leave Jen back in her car by herself with Baron, she can always call. we might make it back in time. I don't know.
I'm being pulled out the window. Hurry up.
And,
My knee. My
You got
knee.
Baron right there.
yeah, this one will be just like, hi, what are you? Will you play with me?
Yeah. You got a ball?
Will you pet me?
Let me out of this car, show this guy how fast I am.
Well,
I
Right.
surely want to play.
it was. Well, research area. Well, let's go back to New York. Like I said, a whole lot of it's about thanking everybody for 2024. Because that was something. When I think back, this time last year, I was down the corridor we were down the corridor with Matt and Alex and Brian, and a whole bunch of people on a once in a lifetime type of exploration. I think that I wanted to, take the opportunity to make sure I thank all them. And we went. Let's see, that was March. And then we did some stuff with Ron and Joe from Wild and Weird, and got to meet a whole lot of great people there down in West Virginia. Got to meet Baron. Then we went out. I got to go out west, hang out with Jonathan, who I met last year, Nikki, and Brent Dill. They had a great time, and I'm going to be talking to you and Brent, John, sometime in the near future, I think. So, kind of interesting stuff. And then, we went on this last trip to the Adirondacks, and apparently my theme was to go to places injured. So, spent my whole time in British Columbia. You're like, which way is it? I'm like, it's that way. It's that way. How can you tell? Well, I'm pointing right at it. No, you're not. You're pointing over there.
Broken hand, broken finger.
Broken finger. Yeah, I got back from that, and the doctors were like, when did you do this? Why? No. So, and then right before the Adirondacks, Freya was just playing with somebody, and she's a big girl. She don't know her own strength, and she took me out the knee. So,
Illegal clipping.
Yeah. Had a good time on that trip. I wish that I had known that we could get to research area 2 30 minutes before Hurricane Helene did. That was a trip. And then,
Well, maybe it saved our lives. Who knows? Maybe there was, maybe there was some big bad bears up in the woods, and we could have had a bad situation, and the rain kept us in
hey,
tight to
Mr.
camp.
J,
So.
we had a great time there. Honestly, although, I enjoyed myself, I can't speak for everybody. I can't speak for those trapped underneath the, what is that, pagoda? What's it? The gazebo, hiding from the rain. So we had a good, I had a good time.
Yeah, I had a great time. I had a fantastic time.
But
it was very unique.
Very unique.
Yep.
Was there, anything? And that's another thing too. I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of look back and see if there's any lessons that we need to learn, or anything that we need to address to make things better in the future. Because I'm not here to teach or anything, but I would like people that start doing this, to look at the things that maybe we've done and listen to ways that we said that we could say we could improve.
I can bring one up. because there was a bit of a gumbagle with, trying to be legitimate with the state park up there, and contacting them to get the camping permit. And in that process, I was delivered a lot of other rules and regulations, and where I didn't think there'd been any problem whatsoever to have all of us camp right where we actually stayed in the gazebo right there at the parking lot. I didn't think there would be a problem with that at all. And then when they said we had to be at least 100 or 150 feet away from any trail, road, or brook, that would have put us up in the sticks. And then, of course, I tried to get up on top of the hill out on that peninsula and set up camp,
Yeah.
but the rain came in, so we really couldn't get established up there. But the other thing that happened was, and I have that correspondence. I kept that, printed it out, and put it in a folder, and reads somewhere along the lines that they wanted to let me know, if you're going to have any type of recording device of electronics up in this park, you need to be able to share that with us, and you can't leave it out overnight unattended. And I had no idea. And I, quite frankly, told them the truth. I said, I did not know that. And I will tell you that since 2020, I've had audio recorders and trail cameras all over up in here, but I will share every ounce of it with you. And I would absolutely like to work with you. They never answered that. Never answered it. But since then, it's really been a bit of a hindrance, because on one side, I don't want to break the law.
No.
On the other side, I wish I never even asked them the question, because since then, I haven't put anything up inside that area for overnight or any long distance of time at all.
No, I
And
mean,
I'm a little bit at question as how far I want to go up there and what I can do now.
and that brings up a good point, because when you're out and about doing these things, check your local laws and registration, or local laws, and just like I know some of the New York stuff about where you have to be off the road X amount of feet and da da da. Ohio, uh, a lot of the gear we use is not in compliance. You're not allowed to use anything that throws a bead, the spotlight law in Ohio. So if you're walking trail or something using a flashlight, you're good to go. But if you're walking and you're actively searching, even with IR, that's how it's written. You better mind your P's and Q's.
Hmm.
So, and like I said, some states, PA, it's not quite that way. PA is a little bit more lenient on it, but definitely in Ohio, spotlighting because the old poacher laws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they'll tag you up here if
Yeah.
you're riding around in the night and you have a light. And even if you're not jacking deer, or don't even have a gun in the truck, and you're out spotting the fields, they will let you know, you put that light back in the truck and get on out of here. They don't want no part of that either. You're disturbing the wildlife, is what they say.
and you got to watch out for that too, because that's a thing in some states and some areas that the harassing wildlife laws
Yeah.
are actually a thing. So I, I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. We're trying to find a legendary creature out there. Could somebody turn around and throw a harassing wildlife ticket at you? That's been
Probably
in
have
our
a case, they could probably press it. You
Yeah.
probably could get a ticket. You might be able to beat it.
Hi,
But
Matt.
it would probably be an issue. All depends on who calls up and how bad they complain. I mean, if they light into the conservation department and threaten to talk to their superiors, and it almost forces them into take action where typically maybe they would just be like, hey, listen, these guys are just out here looking for Bigfoot. It's a thing.
In some cases, like Salt Fork, with all the stuff that goes on down there, it does seem that those are park rangers. Those aren't. I don't believe that they're game wardens or ODNR. They're kind of like that. From what talking to people that we know, it used to be they would challenge you and ask you what you're doing out there. So they would tell them, "We're just out here fishing and hanging out and having a good time." But progressively over the years, they said that changed.
That there actually happened to me, Bill.
Yeah.
I actually got pulled over for spotlighting deer, and it was by the game warden up here at Tar Hollow State Forest. And he actually pulled me over and lighted me up and on, asked me what I was doing. And I said, I'm just spotlighting deer. I'm up here camping, bow hunting, and I figured I'd just see where the deer are moving to from which part of the woods to the next.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you mind if I search your truck? I said, no, go ahead. I didn't have no weapons or nothing. I was just, seeing where they was moving to and from for the next morning. Maybe I could get a jump on him. And he didn't give me no ticket, but he told me that just spotlighting was illegal. And he said if you even move your vehicle so the headlights light them up, that's illegal. He could have gave me a ticket for that too. But he let me off warning. So.
You have to watch it. So if you're making a turn onto a road, that your headlights aren't on bright or whatever out in the fields checking for deer.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. Ohio's overran with deer compared to a lot of places. I was surprised up there, and I was expecting to run into more deer up at Research Area 2 than I did. A lot of places I was really surprised because I go to places in Ohio and I'm practically getting ran over left and right, and we're not talking about just private lands or going up in the heavy population areas that are difficult to hunt. We're talking about state forests and everything. Mm-hmm. I was really kind of surprised because Ohio, they want every hunter to take out 6-7 deer a year. Because we got so many, and we don't want to get to a point where we're overpopulated, and then that causes the animals' growth to decline. Well, I thought that was interesting. Although we did bump into something there one night from being out and about. Did you have any insights, Jen?
For deer and hunting?
Well, I mean, just in the Research Area too.
I mean, other than the one place, Bud, we're in West Virginia we used to go. I'm gonna have to say, Western New York seems to be the spot, for a lot of stuff. And yes, Baron. He keeps pawing my hand. Baron says, I'm not getting back in the car and driving for another 40 days and 40 nights.
That was a long stretch, and he was injured when remember we were going to try to get him over to see the vet, Brian Landenberg.
Well, going to Whitehall
wasn't
that.
Yeah.
Going to
he
Whitehall
just had a little sore ACL. He was fine.
Ooh. Did everybody get hurt on that trip? Remind me not to camp with you, Bill.
Well, we had, let me see, Baron was injured. I was injured. Of course, she didn't get injured. Nobody else got injured that I can think of. Jonathan was, I felt bad because, Research Area 2 and everything. Jonathan will go. Jonathan's a go-getter. He likes to cover land, and I could not cover more than a couple 100 yards at a shot. So.
We'll get another shot at it. That land isn't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It'll still be there.
Worst bye-byes ever. Yeah, that was a ride from from the Adirondacks to where we went. That was a long ride. That was a very long ride. That was a late ride too. Let's see, the Whitehall we've talked about a couple of different times. I'm still blown away by those howls that we captured.
Hey, I'll share with you. Sorry to interrupt you, but I can confirm who laid that big pile of diarrhea out behind my trailer up on Buck Mountain. That would have been.
That was my first guess.
I call you on film there, Bill. What the heck were you drinking? No,
Bill was my first guess.
No, it was Chewy. I could hear Brian get up, get his stuff together and everything. And then he's got Chewy start running around, and they start down the dirt road. And I hear Chewy stop. He spins around and leaves a little bit. Oh my good sake! Sound like emptying a 5-gallon bucket of yogurt through a 1-inch line. Holy cow! I almost stepped in that shit, man, that morning. I was so close. Never even saw it. Like, holy Toledo. Well, we put a piece of bark over it or something, didn't we, Jen? Like a piece of bark over it or something, so nobody stepped in there and wiped out on the ground. Oh, what a pile. But I got him.
We did have a trail cam the second night. And a lot of people did. Well, no, I want to rephrase that because I made sure everybody knew that trail cam was up in that tree.
Yeah, I knew it was up there. You showed me. Yeah.
Yeah, I brought my climbing sticks and my harness, and I went up a tree and put a trail cam about 10, 12 feet up in the air. And, of course, I'm sure the locals are like, how'd something that big get that high? But, I defied gravity. That's what you got to do, though.
Yep. I bring them things, the crank ends. Is that what you use?
What's that?
The crank in pegs?
No, I use the strap. It straps around. It's a 3-rung. You just lock it in. You go straight up.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
So it's just like, you turn basically any tree into a ladder and you just climb up, and just make sure you have your harness on, especially if you're a frail old man like I am turning into to be. So
I just picked up a really nice tree climber, exactly the same as the one that I had that got, I don't know, just disappeared. I don't want to say it got stolen, but yeah, it's got nice seat pads and everything. Just picked it up for $100 off a guy at work. Yeah, it's in really good shape too. All the casing still on the cables and stuff. Good tree climber.
What is it, John?
I couldn't tell you. It's just basically green. Looks exactly like the one that I have. It's just an army green with the cables, and he didn't have the seat cushions with him right there. And I just met him. What was it, Friday morning over in Bolton, and he brought him with him. It's exactly the same as the one that I had, but I got that. My God, Dylan and the kids were pretty young, so I just couldn't tell you what brand it is.
Just make sure
I'll
you
check
practice.
it out. Yeah, I've got the cushions in the truck. I threw the stand in the shed, and I just haven't pulled it out into the woods yet.
Just make sure you practice good tree stand safety. So you don't want to be one of those guys falling out, because I've known a few.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I backflipped out of one. I forgot about that. And that was a saving. I had to be saved from that trip.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, that's a pretty good looking wood burn back there, Jonathan.
Hey. Yes, it is. Oh, my goodness sakes. Let's showcase that. I love it. I'm so proud of that. Oh, yes. Miss Nikki, she wood burned that right there. And,
wow, that's nice.
Yeah, she did a beautiful job. And
Who did that?
I did.
Oh, did you, Nikki? That's great. Yeah, that's real nice.
Yeah, she did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful? I mean, when you get right in there and look at the detail and how she did that and incorporated the landscape into the figure, that is astonishing. It really is.
Out there with the wood burner?
Yeah,
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that took a while. Then that's nice.
It's
that's
beautiful.
one of a kind. I haven't made
Oh
another one
really?
of those. Yeah.
Okay. Now I got a couple of people in here. I wasn't expecting many, but I want them to know that the intro was also for them. They haven't seen it yet, so if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna play it one more time.
Yeah, I want to see it.
The dust trails whisper secrets to my feet. A winding path where earth and sky compete. The sun is low, but the spark is high. The trackway calls beneath the open sky. Finding the trackway where dreams collide. Through the wilderness where shadows hide. The heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way. A footprint older than the mountain's crest guides me onward toward the unexpressed. Every step a riddle, every step a clue. Through an ancient bond the soul feels new. Finding the trackway where dreams collide. Through the wilderness where shadows hide. Heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way. The rocks soft hum the melody of time. A chorus carved by nature's old design. The wind it hums a song inside my chest, saying find your journey, forget the rest. Finding the trackway where dreams collide. Through the wilderness where shadows hide. The heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
been her earworm for 3 days.
Yay!
Very cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, like I said, this was.
I didn't like it. What'd you have me in that thing for?
Well,
Man.
because it was International Chocolate Ice Cream Day.
Which don't get me started. Don't get me started.
The girls had me grab a half gallon of chocolate right in the freezer, but
You go to
Go
world
get you an
famous
ice
ice
cream
cream
cone.
place and they don't have chocolate. I give up.
So,
Love ice cream.
but yeah, I mean, Whitehall. I'd like to, at some point, get Steve and talk about Whitehall, and then uh, I never really. Well, I guess I have got to talk a few times about the corridor and some of the stuff that we did out west in British Columbia and with Nikki and Brent. Um, good time there. I don't know if you saw the one thermal in there. I have been beating that to death for the past 72 hours or so. We'll see what that brings. But very interesting stuff. Interesting trip all year. And, two other people that I just realized I didn't say anything about. I know Mike the Howler was in the intro. Thomas Steenberg was in the intro. But I forgot to mention Jerry. And Jerry, when he was out in BC, had hoped to have, because he's a comic book guy, which I was back in the day. Imagine that. And we got only to talk briefly about comic books for a little bit. So, Jerry, if you're out there watching, enjoy the time with you. So, is there any questions going towards? So, we've touched briefly. Did anybody have anything else about Research Area 2 that they want to talk about?
When you mention Research Area 2, are you talking about up there where I'm at?
Yeah.
Or okay, I just wasn't sure if there was a different research. There's a lot of Research Area 2s. It's a common thing to go for, so I wasn't too sure if there was somebody else's spot. Well, I can tell you that I did not get up there this winter. Early on, I was up in there. I didn't get up in there this winter, and I have not even been up in there yet this spring, but I've been aching to get up in there because if you remember that one early morning, that I had mentioned to you that I was going to be heading, mile and a half, 2 miles up in there to this somewhat of a corridor that I pay a lot of attention to, and I was setting DNA traps. I am eager to get up there and see if that worked. And I would really like it if we get a chance to all go up there again. It's not a hard hike into the first pond. It's I think it's a 1 mile hike from where we were staying at the gazebo. There's no major mountains. It goes right through a valley. A lot of flat land, just a couple little knolls, that you got to go up over. And then around the outside of the pond, depending on which side you want to stay on and camp. I think you'd be very pleased. From that area, there's plenty of trail to research out there. It doesn't require walking up and down steep mountains. It's beautiful out there, and I hope we get to do it at some point. I hope we get to go up in there and enjoy that again with some better weather.
Well, you couldn't get much worse weather than what we got, so pretty much anything's better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, like I said, when we went to Whitehall, I kind of want to, see about and stuff at some point. I know we've talked about it a good bit, a couple weird experiences, but the only time I've ever seen you come unglued, and that's putting it mildly. You were not a heavy gripper.
Yeah, no, that whatever it was, I'm pretty convinced that at least one of the living things that was messing around right in front of me was a dog. But I have on audio a chain, and I saw finally after a while had captured the thermal image of a canine out there.
Yep.
It looked a little bigger than a coyote to me, but thermals are a little deceiving sometimes with distance and size unless you can analyze it and gauge it to something that you know what the size of it is out there, a rock, boulder, and go out and look at it. So I just think it was awful odd that there would be somebody's house dog out there in the woods meandering around, and then if its behavior was to hang out in front of me for all that time, because I was hearing stuff before you guys even walked up in, and I had to adjust some stuff. We talked, and I was telling you that I was hearing this right in front of me, and then when you started to walk away, and I mean, this thing was being stealthy, coming up closer and closer and closer to me. Why would a house dog do something like that? I mean, you just think it would. Don't make any sense. Not the chain in a stealthy dog. Did it go wild? Has it been running loose with coyotes? Is it a coy dog? A wild domestic dog that still has a chain on it? And then the audio that, you and I have, I don't know if you've featured that on your channel. Maybe you have, and I just don't remember, but that's a heck of a beller for a coyote.
the thing that got me was that it came back, and I don't know if you were aware that Deb and I had actually gone into that campsite. Wait, or I don't know if you had even arrived
Earlier
there.
on, you guys did.
Yeah, and there was something in
Earlier.
there. There was two somethings. Um, I didn't have bear spray or recorder or anything on me, and I kind of got the notion that this could be bad, and so we backed out. Because at first I thought, well, we might have a couple of deer step out. And then after listening to it and watching it for a while, and it was pretty loud and it was carrying on, maybe we should just leave.
Well, do you guys
'Cause I
remember?
wasn't outrunning anything.
So it was Evan and Evan's girlfriend that had gone down in that area as well. And I remember there being a conversation where Evan was saying that he had seen something dark. He described it as being very, very dark, and it was coming down off a bank. And I have to be truthful. Sometimes
Oh,
I don't
John,
really get too excited about too much because everybody sometimes gets real excited about things, and it just seemed too. I don't know. It's right off the side of the road. We just got started here, and you just saw something dark come off the bank, and I took it like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I didn't take it that seriously. Maybe it was something. I don't know.
so, but yeah, I mean, the second night, well, the first night she got woke up, something woke her up, and then that's when I ran running out of the tent after the pox alarms went off, and that's my cat.
Now, have you done any more digging into the thermal image that was down by the car from you took the image from camp?
No, that's also on the list. So since because we've got a count of everybody, I have no idea who or what that was. So what happened was it was on Deb's thermal. It was right next to Jen's car, and in the camp at the time, everybody was present. The only one that wasn't present was Jonathan, and Jonathan was um, down at second campsite.
Yeah, and I never walked back up there. We came up with you guys rode up with me in the truck eventually after all that had happened down there.
Yep.
Yeah, I went down and ran the generator, and I was sitting there messing around with all my equipment, getting the parabolic set up until everything was charged up. Then I walked from there across the gravel when I shut everything down, and then something wasn't hooked up right or whatever, and I had to walk back over and then go back over, but just back and forth, not up to the vehicles.
And then we left there and we made our way over to Western New York, where I'm pretty sure Barron could have chewed us all alive for that road trip. That was we got there late, 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 late. Um, we'd been on the road a long time that day. We
Seems as
kept,
if it worked though. You pulled a gem.
I just can't.
Yeah, I was surprised when we pulled in there that late at night because I knew I was over it for the night. Like my head hurt, my eyes hurt. I have double vision from driving. I was like, I don't care. I don't care anymore today. Let him out to go potty, and I was surprised he hopped right back in the car. He didn't want to. He didn't fight it at all. So,
And I know we was tired, but I didn't think there was any. I'd be honest, I didn't think we had brought back really, much more than this. And like I said before, there's stuff missing. If you're going to identify these things, I've learned so much uh, in the past 6 months over the whole situation. I honestly thought that my Taipan was dead. We really have nothing. We have that one vocalization, and then from February 24th when I hit the videos for the first time, I was like, what the heck? And that doesn't prove the existence of anything other than that there was either a human, a vagrant, or something out there in the woods. So, and
Well, you were trying to work out compared to the comparison to Deb. Whatever it was way bigger than Deb, right?
well, the problem is that once the the proper terminology is margin of error, really. So, what's your margin of error or your tolerance of error? Um, and you got to think about um, the maximum and the minimum distance. So, you're talking, I believe it was 40 yards for a minimum, but that's using a Onyx GPS app that can be off a couple of yards, and a yard can make a huge difference in the calculation. So, um, it can be anywhere past the 40-yard line up to the 50-yard line. I think that I still personally think that's a sweet spot, but it could be like 45, 46, 48, and that throws all the math, changes the math drastically. And I mistakenly put in the video 7 foot in there because I'm guessing that compared to her, if it's at 50 yards compared to her at 50 yards, you divide by 3/4, it gives you a height, then you do your math, and that's where that 7/4 comes from. But it could have been, if it's at 80%, now you're talking 6'8", 6'9". The closer you start coming, the shorter it gets. So if it's in 45 yards or whatever, and it's only a percentile, I mean, don't even have something there for percentile. So really, the only true math I can come up with, I think 7'3" is probably the max, but it's between 5'6" and maybe 7'3" if it goes up, if it's truly that far. There's no way I can go back and measure. I can go back and measure it correctly, but I don't know if I can get rid of that error, that margin of error. It's still going to exist no matter what I do. Even if I go back and do a recreation, I got to pick the right tree, pick the right hole, which I could do. But first, that's a mistake. You should never check your own math, check your own material. You should always have somebody else do it. So, I can give the stuff I've got is ready to go. All somebody has to do is say, send it this way. And they can have it in their possession in about 10 seconds. But that's where we're at. But like I said, we do know for a fact, you take a look at on the trail to Bigfoot, what he captured that guy wandering around in the swamp. We know that I've woken up while hunting, sleeping in the backseat of my truck, and a guy, not a Bigfoot, has tapped on my window and woke me up. We know how that ended. Um, and we know that there's people that there's other Bigfooters that are out there. We know that there's a ton of different people out there. So, and like I said, it's thermal. You really got to up that sensor range. Really get to be truly um, locked in. The behavior's odd. To me, I'd say the behavior's very odd. So,
Well, the behavior of looking around the tree and stuff is the stereotypical behavior, but
I would say
it doesn't necessarily mean anything either. So
no. Well, the thing is, normally I would expect if it's somebody out there doing something nefarious or just walking around, hanging out, looking and so forth. Number one, I went through that entrance video, not the entrance video, but the video of when we drove in. I went over it and over it and over it, looking for lights. I blew it up. I don't know how many times, looking for people with flashlights. I think that's the lack of flashlights. Either says they're in that situation, they've got some kind of assistance, or there's something else going on. And it's not typical animal behavior. I think if I was a human out there trying to do whatever, they would have hunkered down and just waited for us to go to sleep and then snuck out.
Hey, Bill, is this here the place that you got robbed?
Uh,
Okay.
so that's also why we went on a Sunday. We didn't have anybody there, but again, somebody could have walked in. Who knows?
I went like the next day. I drove the entire campsite from end to end. There, not another car, not another vehicle, not another tent, nothing.
Really?
Nothing.
Is there any
No
really
one.
good high points out there, Bill? Like maybe the next time, if I can get out there with you guys, or if TAC's out that way, or some way to get up on a high point with a thermal to be able to sit all night,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
spend some time traversing a broad area out there within reason. I mean, within a half mile of there. And why I say that is to try to rule out whether it is some sort of meth head or just a homeless person or a couple people having a tough time in life that set up camp out there, and maybe they are being predators on the people coming in camping because they're down and out, need food, need things, maybe they're running from the law, who the hell knows. And then you got the people that are on the drugs. I mean, when they're all whacked out, they're running around all night long and just in another world. So
I
they
mean,
could.
Well, the robbery night was a bunch of drunks.
Right.
that was
It happens. People do crazy shit.
that was some complicated audio. I will say that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because there's a lot you didn't even put in. That was really interesting too. So.
Um,
Is
I'll
there any
have
cameras up there now? Sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt you.
no.
You don't have
It's
nobody's got no trail cameras in there trying to.
hunters might, because that's the thing. Because remember, the one guy found my backpack,
Yeah.
and he met the backpack people. So okay,
Yeah,
I'm getting.
maybe if you get up there next time, if you can leave one hidden with some good battery or something, just to have some long term, maybe the cellular where you can get the notification on your phone, and just monitor who's coming in and out of there, and even at nighttime, maybe if you start seeing an abundance of rough looking people looking down and out, walking around 1-2 o'clock in the morning out there, and if you don't, then that makes that clip that you have very interesting, because it is very interesting in the size, the action of that. As think of a typical human being and what they would do. You got a car coming in. Number one, when that car comes in, you're looking at them lights. Most people are going to crouch right down to the ground because they think, oh, they're going to see me.
Mhm.
And so I didn't see that crouching. It was already in an upright position. And then, you know, to turn and walk away, take a look, or, what the details are. I heard, your video and watched it, and some of the analyzation. It,
Well, that I think out of what Matt pulled out of it and what
yeah,
Trackway did.
yeah.
There was
I
a third.
mean,
There's actually
you,
another person. It's still out there. I'm still waiting on some stuff to return.
Just
but
doesn't seem typical of a
I'm just
human.
saying that you know Man, it's like you can see the legs move, and the gait in that. It's very Hattie-esque. The arm movement, the leg movement.
So the night that um,
I just found it really interesting. That's all.
so the night that we was there during. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong date.
Hey, buddy.
So we did have. Where was we in?
You
When
are
the sun
determined.
set, we had moonlight up until it set at 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll look see what, and we were at half a moon that night. So Batsy asked. So
Mhm.
did that give you a good answer, Tessa? Jay asked. Let's see if I remember how to do this.
Hey, what's up, Jay Fritz?
Jay asked, "Can you tell size of a thermal?" What I did is I took that particular thermal and the laser rangefinder, which I think I have one back here, and we did different ranges with both uh, Mrs. T and our dog Freya. And experience with time, you'll once you it's like a scope, hunting rifles, rifle hunting with a scope. You start learning distances. Uh, Not to my knowledge. I don't know. So, not that I was aware of. But I did search. I mean, when I started doing the light thing, looking for flashlights and stuff, I'm going to tell you, I found eyeshine, and the first thing I did was like wonder if that's a um, cell tower off in the distance. And so I got back out the map and I went down the entire line. It didn't make sense for any cell towers to be in that direction because we're in a valley, and cell towers are usually up on ridges. So, but then the funny part was is that I did a longer clip of brightening up looking for eye shine going in. And at that
Mhm.
point, I was like, we need to just back up and take a deeper dive on this one. This gets a little weird.
Hey, Bill, I'm gonna have to go. I'm sorry, my boy needs to ride home from work, so old Dad has to go get him.
Well, thank you, bud.
Go
We will
fetch him
be
up.
seeing you.
Just
Thanks
keep
for
on.
inviting me. Yeah, Nikki, not good to see you again. And Bill, and John, Jen, I'll see you guys here the 1st of May.
Have a good
Take
evening.
care.
See you then.
Bye.
Looking
Bye,
forward
bud.
to it.
game. We're going to meet a lot of people.
Yeah, hopefully, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks, bud. Anybody else? Anybody got any more questions? Just feel free to ask. Um,
Have you gotten any further analysis or idea on the howler from the Whitehall?
uh, Jonathan might have thrown it up on. He started digging through the frequencies and stuff. I haven't yet. I'm kind of hung up on. I got hung up on two items. I got hung up over an item, a piece of audio from actually of all places, Hocking Hills. That kind of like what the heck, you know. It's one of those situations. It's like, oh, we got nothing. I'm going to take a break, and then I got this computer set up, and we got Audacity on it, and I realized how quickly you can go through stuff with it, as opposed to listening, all day long with Audio Lab. And so I loaded. I had stopped, thinking, oh, there's nothing going on. We're not going to get anything on this. Very first recording I put in, 1 minute in the recording, you've heard it, Jen. I think you guys both, you've all heard it. Something comes walking up the steps, walks across the porch. You hear
Yeah.
this. You hear this clicking, this clack, clack, click, clack, 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 clack. kind of type thing, and then you hear it run off the porch. It sounds like bipedal running, and I know raccoons can run, but on their hind feet, but they can't go that long. And then you hear, something bust open a bag. So that I think that's interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. Um,
I mean, I wasn't there, but you let me listen to that. That was very interesting.
That's the
And
first
Jen, I
Whitehall
didn't
trip.
hear. I'm sorry, Jen. I didn't hear what you were asking. And then Trackway said I might have heard. What were you
Oh,
asking?
if anybody's any more of a deep dive into the big howls that we got from Whitehall.
Up on Buck.
so, um,
Because that didn't sound like coyote at all
so
to
Rooker
me.
Gepta, who, by the way, thank you for joining, asked if a laser measuring tape would help gauge distance with a thermal. And what I did was, like I said, I had Mrs. T go with that particular camera, and we shot her with this thermal. This is a laser rangefinder for bow hunting, right? And we took pictures of her at 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards. If you're in Europe, then you're talking meters, just a little bit different. And what happens, and what that gives you is, since your camera or your thermal has a set depth of field, although you can zoom in, you can magnify in, you can then build a scale of someone that of a known height to compare against at a distance if you can figure out that distance. Ideally, you want to be able to shoot the distance live. And so I keep this on my pack. We've used it a few different times for measuring, like when we found, how long the tracks were. That was 100 yards. We found that by using the laser, and along with a tape measure. So there is ways. Listen about bush. And that was something, that was something that really we kind of learned with using the thermal. When you go out with them, and let's say you don't have, ideal conditions, figure figure out a way, but you should shoot um, a distance to figure out how well the thing is, not only how it's interacting, but depth and scale as well. So we've learned, and probably what I'll do is take like a piece of 550 cord, which is parachute cord, tie knots at it every 10 yards, and then I would just hold on to the end, and then she could walk out the 10 yards. So like, we're in REC research area too, and we had all that
Yep.
fog and humidity in there. She could walk out the 10 yards. They could take a picture of it, know what it is. Take the next picture, 10, 20, know what it is, and go on. Because we figured, that can be a source of information. It's not like running up and grabbing being able to shoot it with a laser, running out and measuring with a measuring tape, but you can get decent intelligence,
Within reason. Absolutely.
reason.
Yeah. I've also noticed it with a lot of optics, right down to your basic 4-power scope for your 22 or your BB gun, all the way up to 9 powers and more advanced optics. And even with the thermals that have like a, ×3 zoom or upwards of 8 zoom, or even your basic handy cam, handheld camera. They say, well, you got 50 times zoom But if you take that camera and open up your viewfinder and keep both your eyes open and then pick an object and start zooming in, you realize that your optic is starting out very, very low. And you have to come up to almost 10 or 15% before you're actually even with your natural view. Same thing with my thermal. I could be on, um, times one zoom, and I've got the thermal, and I know what's out in front of me. I know this area very well, or that specific rock that sits aside of a pond with this tree that's falling over it. And I'll look through the thermal and be like, huh, like that's, a bit further away than what this thermal's making it look like if I'm up on 3. But if I'm down on 1, it's deceiving. So it's good to practice with your optics and try to pay attention to how far you need to zoom in to equal what your natural eyesight would be seeing in that distance, so that when something happens and I was on 3 times zoom or I was only on 1, you'll have a little bit better idea how to judge distance because your optics. You've kind of really paid attention to that. So, I mean, anybody could practice it with your cell phone. Put it up in the dash of your car, and you're driving at night and you want to run some video in case a Sasquatch or a deer or something runs across the road. And when you set it up there without zooming in whatsoever, it's going to be those objects in your camera are going to be a ways away. You got to start zooming in a little bit until it evens up to what your actual view is. It doesn't start out in actual view. I don't know if that's a marketing thing, so they can say, yeah, you got 50 times zoom, when in all reality you only got 30 times zoom because you got to zoom all the way up to 20. Now you're in actual view, but anybody can test that out. And so with all your optics, just get to know what that is, and you'll be able to make a better judgment call when something happens. It'll help.
Now, another thing too that we found out recently, because as a lot of you know, Jonathan knows, Jen knows, Nikki knows, when I'm out, there's not just one camera on target. There's usually the thermal's on, there's another camera here, there's always going to be a camera up here, thanks to, and my wise Padawan has taught me, because these right here are what's going to tell you what's going on.
Right on.
Not your glasses, your eyes. You don't look. If something happens, and you're standing there with the camera and you're going like this, and all of a sudden something happens, and these instances are quick or brief, you don't do this. You don't turn and look at it. Your head assesses that your body starts getting into, okay, do we got to run? Do we got to fight? What do we got to do? So, your body's getting ready to pump adrenaline, but your sensory organs, your eyes and your ears are addressing what that was. And this camera, I can guarantee you, if you think you're walking around with a camera in your hand trying to catch something that's happening, ain't gonna move. I can guarantee you, unless you practice and practice and practice and practice.
Yeah.
Moving your whole body over there. Your eyes and your ears are gonna turn right to it. That Padawan knows his stuff. So, and that's something I tell people. But here's another kicker that we found out. Know your deer.
Oh,
Yes.
God, I need a haircut.
What's that?
Get a haircut and get a real
Yeah.
job.
I'm just like,
So,
You look great, Jen. You look great.
need to do something with it.
so Yeah, the past couple of days, I've been trying to match up thermal with the camera that I had underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So that GoPro, it shoots something like this, right? It shoots about this size.
Mm-hmm.
But that thermal is only about this big in depth. So trying to figure out where the hell that thermal was in that picture.
Okay.
Oh, I about ripped my hair out the
I
last
was
couple
going
of
to
days.
ask you if you did take the time to, like bore sight your cameras, just a simple bore sight. Like, are they somewhat bore sighted into really close to the same? You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. Well, the only issue is once you get, where do you stop? The sweet spot on with the GoPros max is 30 yards. You're not getting past 40 yards for good footage. And the other part of
Right.
that, take that 1080p and forget about it. Step
Okay.
up. Go to 4K 60. Forget
Do
about
you
1080p
zoom?
30.
Do you look through each one of your devices and try to get the? Do you have one zoomed out like at 30 times zoom, and the other ones only at one, or do you try to get them so they're relatively the same?
Well, GoPro won't go much more than a 1.3 zoom,
Right.
and you're using the thermal. The thermal's already at 2x zoom, and
Without even zooming in.
at least mine, hers is
Okay.
1x. Starts at 1x. Mine starts at 2x.
Right. Okay.
Which, a lot of those videos where it looks like I'm easily putting one video inside of another. Oh no, that's not easy. That's like
Right on.
that, that, like I said, I literally have been pulling my hair out between the thermal and a video here in the last couple, two videos, the last couple of days about driving people nuts with it.
I
So
have very little skill in reviewing video. Like I was telling you, I've never messed around with like Photoshop and all of that stuff. I mean, the best I ever did was there's the video, I put it on the computer and I can zoom in. And I started using some of the additional things on Movave movie editor, like putting a
okay,
shaded circle around something. But man, I that's definitely my Achilles heel is video um, or photo analyzation. I don't have any software where I can put it on there, and just as far as I was concerned, if it's there, I'm gonna see the damn thing, and if it ain't, then well, I,
yeah.
I don't. I keep a lot of that stuff to myself,
Mhm.
'cause I just
Well,
can't tell. But it's interesting looking at it, though. That's for damn sure.
one thing I will say, if you're out there and you're doing this in 1080p, if you need to crop in and get a good look at something, it's not going
Yeah.
to happen. So yeah, the only other camera I have besides the GoPros is a Tacticam. That's pretty good actual. And once you get into when you're traveling with zoom, then every little tiny shift of the camera can make whoever's watching cautious. I wore that
Yep.
thing looking back the one time and watched the footage. Oh, I about threw up 4 times during the
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, stabilization is so important you know, with your average camera. The second it starts to move, the
mhm.
clarity, the pixelization, the clarity just fades away. And then the second you stop and it gets a hold of it, regroups, and then it comes clear again. In the thermals too, you move and it dulls right down. And then
Yeah.
you stop and your heat signature brightens right up, and then it gets nice and crisp and clean edges. And unless you have like some super refresh rate, $8,000 piece of equipment, it's
Well, I've been told I
stabilization
need to
gives you a good
slow
product.
down on my movement, so I agree with him. I agree with him, especially with that since it's already zoomed. Slow, slow, yes. Slow wins the race. Um,
But if you don't move, you can only see one spot. So I mean, you know, we're
I
always moving.
I do that a lot. I got some great I do have some really, really great static cam footage coming up. And it's not
Nice.
necessarily Bigfoot, but you're going to hear some really cool sounds. Um,
Cool.
so yeah, it's slow moving. It would be nice if with my camera being zoomed, you're kind of doomed anyhow when you turn. But, so let's see, at 120. Any more questions that regard the last place that we were at during the New York trip?
Right on, Matt. Right on.
I hear you guys.
Slow, slow, slow is the key.
Yeah, I'm bummed that the audio of those yells and stuff didn't get caught.
Yeah, me being
That was some interesting noises.
that was very interesting. The
Buck
stuff was
Mountain?
no.
Out where you guys went out Western New York?
So that video footage
Okay.
where I went out into the woods,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was super clear. It was, and all kinds of crazy stuff. Just and it was tearing through the woods and going north. I don't know. It,
Can you imagine if that really was Rasta? I mean, the figure that Joe Snyder, God rest your soul, buddy. Like, can you imagine if that really was that, whatever you want to call it? Like you say, he'd tell you right now, I can't say it's a Sasquatch, but I know I saw something that fits the bill,
mm-hmm.
and he calls it Rasta. Can you imagine if that really was that being? And that's something else to think about.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it was Joe out there. He loved that place out there. Maybe he's running around out there.
No, that place is never disappointed. And when you get, is that cat again? Come on, cat.
I know,
So
like
yeah,
we were well, Deb's sitting right there, so like we were sitting at the fire, and she and I heard was it three whoops? Like whistle whoops, the high end ones.
she might have a little bit of a delay there.
But they
I
were clear as a bell, and they came from that end. And then as we're all sitting there, there's like some weird vocally chattery stuff going on
Hmm.
off to our right, and it was
yeah,
bizarre. Like
un-
it wasn't. I
Sure.
don't know what it was, but it was definitely something.
yeah.
And it kept coming closer, and then it stopped. So
Unfortunately, I used that auto feature a lot, and whenever I got or somebody got too close, the auto gain. Um, yeah, that's exactly what happened. This one was on low gain. Um, so when somebody got too close to the microphones,
Mm-hmm.
it it kicked its gain down. So that's why we didn't capture those sounds.
Nah.
I've been told by the audio guys that when you have these, um, max out your gain, turn off the auto gain, turn off everything, um, and just let it run.
That's what I do. I turn everything on the highest sensitivity, unless I'm walking with it and I've got people talking around me. I'll turn it down a little bit so it stops clipping out so bad. That's just
Mm-hmm.
horrible to listen to on the spectrograph.
Well, that area in particular is kind of tough to listen to too because you get a lot of highway noise. For a place that's had a sighting, there's a lot of. I think there might have been more than one. I don't know, but there's a lot of noise. So, very interesting place.
yeah, Joe picked a winner. That's for sure.
There's a lot of reports out of Western New York. A lot of that's a busy place out there, like you just said, Jen. I mean, you guys have had a lot of things happen out in that area, and I hear of what was it? Didn't Alex Petikoff? They just had a Small Town Monsters Trail to Bigfoot video. Maybe it was an older one. I don't know, but wasn't that? Maybe it was Pennsylvania. Maybe it was Pennsylvania. I don't know. He was interviewing a ex game warden or forest ranger or something who's started researching the subject. And this fella, he was out doing his runs. He come out in this rural road. Was this garbage can there or something? And, there was stuff strung out on the ground, and
That was Massachusetts.
that was Massachusetts. Okay, I for some reason thought that was out by the Finger Lakes out there. But
Now you get to you get into some really odd types stories. I mean, when you think of New York, you first thing you think about is the city, right? But uh, Western, that's only New York City. It's a small part of that state.
yeah,
The rest of it is incredibly beautiful and wild, and
sure.
you get to below Chautauqua, um, we're into Pennsylvania. Some of the famous ridges actually extend up into that part of New York.
Right.
The what is it? The Chestnut Ridge and the Laurel Ridge. You get a lot of sightings from that area. Now, of course, I've read some of the sightings. And it's like, oh, come on. But you also get in for Ohio, the mass of our sightings go along that joining area towards the east, whichever way that direction is back there. It's this east.
Okay. A lot of woods out there. That's for darn sure.
Um,
I'm probably going to have to pop off here in a minute, Bill.
okay.
Is there anything that anything that you had lined up that you need me here for?
No, that was the only thing. Just because like I said, the season's coming. Is there new stuff that we need to look at and work at? Areas that we can focus on and improving. Um, like I said, we've got better radios now. Unfortunately, I have to go through the classes to get the licenses for them.
Licenses for what?
You got to be, you got to have the ham radio license for some of the
Oh, okay, yeah. Yep. Well, that's interesting. You said I think Matt Larson. He's a ham operator as well. And back when he spoke about that and said he had it, I was like, oh man, I gotta do that myself. That would be cool. My grandma Jane Grandma Dot had CBs, and I had a handle. My dad had a handle, so I was a little bit familiar with that. My dad had CB in his truck. So my daughter Sierra bought me a really nice ham radio CB system that I was supposed to be put in that 2020 Chevy, and I just got too busy, didn't do it. And then, of course, found out you had to take the classes in order to be able to have any strength, past a walkie-talkie. I don't know much about it, so I really can't speak well about it, but certain wattage and bands that you're not allowed to be activating if you don't have a license to do so, or the proper whatever it is. So yeah.
So yeah. Well, is there any questions as far as the last place we went? Anybody? Before we go back? Probably. Are we gonna say when we're gonna go back?
GRM.
So, um,
You have to get both. Larson just said get a GRMS license too. Yeah, for Garmin, you have to have a license for that, or is that something different? GRMS. Uh, oh, I'll have to check into it.
You got any questions, Nikki or Jen? Or
No, it was a great little video. I enjoyed watching all those prints and everything that came out with it and how you analyzed it. It was well done. That would make a really good presentation.
it's, like I said, it. All right.
I was
If
I was a little bummed that the two prints that were right at the edge of the lake because they were heel to heel and the toes were out on a weird angle, but it was real shallow, so that cast broke. I thought that one was
yeah,
cute.
it was a beautiful cast there, and unfortunately it snapped. But yeah, like I said, once you see, and I'm not an expert, but once you see that pressure ridge, it's shaped like a question mark, and of course it's blurring it out. But once you see that question mark pressure wood,
Mhm.
or however you want to say it, you can go deeper into um, dermal ridging if you have it and so forth. But if you can make out that question mark, you're done. No amount of argumentation that you can ever present, ever do, or and that's not just that, but it's also that arch.
Yeah, you could really see the arches.
Yeah. So it would be even
I don't know.
merciful.
I would argue a little bit against that, only because what knowledge that we have, that we think we have, it's, pretty obvious that there's something out there that's leaving tracks that are very similar to other
Mhm.
tracks spread all the way across the United States, and they have some very similar physical features. But who's to say? Just like human beings, there's flat-footed human beings, but I don't know as if there's any human beings that have a mid-foot break like
No, that's a total
being
different.
exhibited in a. But is there the question mark? Is there a arch? Are there arched Sasquatch tracks? I
My
mean,
thought would
should
be
you be
if
looking
they're
for the break, the mid tarsal, even if it has a question mark? Would you just throw it out, be like, oh, it's obvious, it's got an arch, there's the question mark, end of story, let's move on? Or would you analyze it further to be sure that there's not a mid tarsal? Keep following that trackway. Do you think you can find another track? And if it had a mid tarsal and the question mark in it, are there such tracks? I
Well,
guess my point is could there be Sasquatch that carry an arch? Maybe a
Of
female,
course.
mhm.
I would
or
think
maybe
that
a
the
young
Most
smaller
one.
ones would
situations.
before their weight would flatten their foot out entirely.
Could be. So I
Well,
wouldn't
there's been so
100%
many
dismiss
different
it for a question mark.
situations. So many different. It could go either way, right? They could have no arch. They could have deformed foot. They could have this, the substrate mess with the way it looks. There's so many factors on all that stuff. All you can do is do what Trackway did. They documented everything. They pulled all the tracks. He put them next to other supposedly known tracks, and then it became more obvious. These are they kind of look like lady prints.
Hmm.
Because there's just it's that's what you have to do. That's research. That's what. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. People just take those and say, "Look at all these beautiful Bigfoot prints."
What
This was
she
a juvenile taken in the.
That's gonna
They
be a
just made
fair and
assumption.
reasonable assessment. You did a great job, Bill, and everybody that worked on it. It is a fair and reasonable assessment that those tracks are probably human.
well, they're
Right.
documented, and if something comes out, then then we have that information that we can hand off.
Exactly, yeah. And you have the cast to compare. And there might be something in them casts that you haven't seen yet that might start to become a repeatable discovery down the road in 3 4 years. And then next thing you know, it's going to be like light bulb. Let me go back and grab them cast because maybe somebody like Dr. Meldrum or another up and coming student in morphology of feet and anthropology, maybe they take a look at it and they find something in there that's interesting and you can relate with your material. That's it's intriguing.
All I
Make,
Um,
say is some of the rocks we pulled out that were stuck in those casts, that
mhm. That would have
they must
hurt.
have had some tough ass feet, because that it's gonna had to hurt.
Yeah, haven't had shoes on since they were born.
it was questionable. It was very weird, and like I said, it was. I found it to be out of normal. I would never do it, but that was the recommendation that we received. Was when in doubt, cast it out if you can. Document it if you can. If you really are on the fence about it, what are you gonna lose? You will lose. You may lose some time, but you're gonna get practice. Um, you're gonna learn different things. Uh, Cast making, definitely learned about cast making.
With all the
Cast
casts we
cleaning.
took, there were still probably a couple hundred more in the mud that we didn't.
But and that's another thing too, because I found, and now it shows up. I found that shower unit that we took for, um, Whitehall and stuff for showering off the grid. That makes an excellent cast cleaner. It gets enough pressure. It cleans the cast like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, there
Oh,
you go.
nice.
So
Is that number 13? Is that my chunky cast?
that is number 11.
11. Because 13 is like 4 inches thick. It's just like, wow.
I think it's over in the store. No, it's in the camper. It's three different places. Oh, in the camper, storage unit, whatever. Um,
Hey guys, I got to split.
all right,
Thank you
Jonathan,
for
thanks for
inviting
joining.
me, and it's been great being here with all you folks. Doing a great job.
Um, thanks a lot, and we are going to see you too.
Yes, sir.
Not too far, not too far away in the near future.
Yep.
Um, I hopefully things work out. That's all I can say right now. So, all right, buddy.
Yeah. Right on. God bless you. Have a good evening.
Night,
I
John.
For the rest of the weekend. Nikki having a show Sunday?
uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. I didn't get anything ready. I've been really busy, but I'll just come on and we'll chat. Who knows where it'll lead to.
Right on. Well, I guess we'll be talking tomorrow afternoon,
Okay.
tomorrow evening. God bless you. Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
Bye.
night.
night, John.
Just so everybody knows, don't expect this to become a thing. I I much prefer being out on the hunt than doing, uh, you know, being in front of the camera. I'd rather be behind it chasing stuff. But like I said, I just wanted to talk and pay homage to people of 2024. And now that we got New York out of the way, got the whole year there. Um, and so I can't say enough good things about all the people that I met. So, and looking forward to meet you all again. If anybody else wants to join, feel free to hop on in.
I'm going to be taking off too. I've been up since 4. I'm already starting to. I'm feeling it. So you guys take it easy, and yeah, I'll put something together. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I've got all morning tomorrow, so we shall see.
Sometimes just the hangout and talk shows are some of the best ones.
Yeah, you're right. Just chills. So take it easy, and I'll talk to you guys. See you tomorrow.
All
Bye,
right,
everybody.
Nikki. Night.
Bye.
Okay, I dropped the link in chat if anybody's interested in joining. Sure. I said Matt, you've got stuff that's coming up in the near future. Really enjoyed everything that you've done for me, and inviting us down to the corridor, that once in a lifetime type event, was amazing. The only thing which I would have done was brought my climbing tree stands. Yeah, I felt so jealous when jealous. Is jealous a word?
Jealous?
Yes, jealous. I felt so jealous watching Alex climb up that tree. Not that I
And
would
you
have been
fed
able
how
to.
many mosquitoes?
We still have bites. But yeah, we had a good year. So upcoming, really haven't planned out the year. We know um, OVC that we'll be going out to OVC. We'll be going to West Virginia again, which I am very interested in that. Especially, I wish we could go back to where we came, where we was at before in West Virginia. I think, excuse me, I got material there in West Virginia. I so want to look and compare. Um, and see, anything else really come to mind? Might be sneaking out to a couple long drive places, but we got to get me back up and healthy first, though. It's going to be a priority. Shocking Hills? Hocking Hills. Right there. You tell me. It's okay. You can stick.
Autocorrect.
You can stick. Well, I mean, you can stick your head over in front of the camera and say hi.
You know, on Deb, I know he'll. You want to get back down to, as Bill would say, Cankles Hollow?
Yes, and we are going to be making trips to Kentucky this year. That's a good one. And there's some place that Jen wants to go to super bad, and so we are going to try and make that happen. But
I
as
don't
of
know. I
right,
think if we make it to that other place, I think you guys are gonna like it. So.
well, one thing's for sure, because what happens is when we go out to these camps or whatever, we don't sleep in the truck. If we put out the tents, we usually bring Jen our spare tent, and I've had that marinating in bacon for a while now, and uh, you know,
No, you're just gonna make Baron eat it. That's all.
uh, yes, and that also tells the extended version of the video should pop tomorrow. That's got uh, the drive sequence in it. Why we were driving across, and, you know, you always hear.
Which long drive sequence? There's a lot.
I think your favorite, your infamous words were, I wish I would die. I don't
I
know.
want to die.
I want to die. Um,
You had a 5-hour drive turned into what, 7, 8?
yeah, we didn't
Uh,
want to tell you this. I don't know if Matt's still listening. Hopefully he is. But yeah, at one point we missed a turn off because we were talking to Matt. I didn't want to say anything about it. I mean, the route was going to take us there anyhow, but I should have said that in the video, or maybe I did. We were talking to Matt, and then all of a sudden my phone blurts out, "Make a turn here," and I'm like, "What?" Because we're running both Porsches, and one Porsche is telling us to take this route, the other Porsche is telling us to take that route, and
well, Porsche
but
Prime needs to go to rehab.
yes, she does.
Okay.
Yes, we did go. Um, we did wave to Joe's place as we drove by, so that's cool. Uh, shut up, bullshit. Yes, the vehicle. We have like 3 Porsches going, which usually drives me nuts because all 3 Porsches are telling me different directions, or if they talk, they don't talk in sequence. So it's not it's back in the day. I miss back in the day, because I remember my grandparents going places and riding with them, and back then all you had was the passenger, who's usually grandma, in the passenger seat going, "You missed their turn," and that was your direction system. But now you've got all kinds of electronics and GPS and telling you where to turn, where to go. So
Yeah, I was driving back from somewhere, and I decided to use a different one from Google Maps. And it's like, turn right now. I'm in the middle of a bridge. What?
yeah,
No, don't think so.
Porsche Prime had us flying through, I believe it's Ocala. They had no clue where we was. We just flying over buildings and people's homes, all kinds of stuff. I'm not sure. Um, so I'll throw any more questions out. Anybody got any questions while we're still up? Like I said, this isn't going to happen. Um, this isn't going to become a regular thing. Now, I will say, when we are out at the end of the month, um, we probably will turn on some lives. I've already prepaid. So we'll be able to do some lives out in the field the first night. It'll just be Mrs. T and me, or Mrs. T and I. And the second night we'll have guests. And the night after that, we will have even more guests. So um, I wish Max would have showed up tonight. I always love talking with Max. I always love talking with Matt, talking with everybody. Max is just the those two those two make me laugh, especially if Max is with Brian. Oh, that's like the greatest Bigfooting team ever put together. Oh, okay. I'd love to see Max. So hopefully, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing him at the end of the month. Um, that little clip in the intro, them doing Max doing the imitation, that was hilarious to begin with. Yeah, it was just something. And he's probably getting his smoking jacket ready and stuff, right? Is that what you're saying, Matt?
Turtleneck and a smoking jacket.
They, yeah, I mean, those two, like, they are like the best couple to set up. Not couple, the best team to put together. Poor Chewie's just kind of like looking at him like, what's wrong with you two? But,
I think Chewie does that to everybody, though.
you know, Chewie is, he's one of a kind, I tell you. He is so calm, cool in his demeanor. Of course, Deb kept trying to bribe him with hamburgers and everything else, and so forth. Oh yeah, and I wish Matt was. Man, he had hopped in here at some point. When you tried to hand him the chicken sandwich, and um, how did that go? Oh yeah, I've never seen a dog tell a human being before you licked it at yours. But the the Matt and Chewy dynamic was pretty good too. Cheeseburger lady, yes she was. But there's, yeah, any question as far as gear, um, and I don't, I don't know. That dog, I've never seen a dog. The dynamic, like I said, you two have your own unique dynamic. Am looking forward to. By the way, you wanted to see the rock I won,
Huh?
so
Oh.
that's the chunk of quartz that Ron dug, pulled out of the ground, and that reminds me, because I still haven't received something, a mail. I am getting rid of the GoPro, so we will be upgrading. This will, whatever's messing with the damn tailgate, this will automatically come on. So it's 3 or 4 cameras in one set. I gotta get
Nice.
in the truck installed, and because I'm tired of always hearing my tailgate, and like I don't know what's up with the tailgate thing, but you can hear the
Yeah, it's
tailgate.
like I didn't even think about it when you asked me the last time if it could have been the back of my car. I'm like, and I'm hoping because it's that flat button up underneath. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a latch on the back of it. So
Look out, Mothman. Actually, oddly enough, we did go to the Mothman Museum last year. That was a trip. That was pretty cool. I got to meet a lot of wonderful people there. Um,
got your
that's a
picture taken with the shiny hiney.
shiny hiney. A lot of interesting stories that come out of that with the Mothman lore, uh, because you get a lot of interesting individuals that. Oh boy, what do I think? John. I think it is from the Mothman prophecies. I can't think of the guy's name. I'm drawing a blank. The guy that gave us the Smiling Man, Ingrid Cole.
It's in the newest Paranormal Horizons too. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, you're
John
thinking of
Keel.
Steve, and I'm
Oh,
yeah, I'm
I'm
thinking of
sorry.
John
Yeah.
Keel.
John Keel.
Yeah, and you're thinking of Steve. Um, John Keel was interesting. Mothman stuff was interesting. The Mothman Museum was an interesting. A lot of history there, and if you have a little bit of engineering uh, interest. You know why that bridge broke. That's particularly interesting. So you know what? Actually, Matt, I got a great idea. How about a new cryptid, and we'll call him Max Man. Max Man. Um,
I just hope Max brings his I am Max up in Power shirt.
well, that's how we got to know him. I got introduced to him. Yeah, Max is a trip. Let's see. Who else? We met Brian down there. Brian is also a really good guy. 10:57. Yeah, we're
Good
at
night,
an
Jay.
hour 56. Night, Jay. Thank you. Well, if you don't think you're going to make it, maybe we'll just wrap up. So, yeah, like I said, don't expect this to become a normal thing. It probably won't unless we do another big trip. Um, yes, Jay,
I
thanks for
think it's
coming.
fun doing it from the field when we can, though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the only, any way you look at it, you know, doing it out in the field, um, it's not the most exciting thing. Doing it live, if you're out there in the woods by yourself and you're shaking, you know, people are trying to look at the camera, and you're doing this number. That's when it's a lot of fun. But or you've got certain, yeah, I'm waiting for it. Been waiting for it all night. Um, Andes out there in the woods.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll get eaten live on camera. Yeah, we can. Hopefully, mosquitoes aren't out yet. They shouldn't be. They weren't a problem last year. We are, you know, we're pretty far out, and like I said, we'll be all by ourselves the first trip. So,
Remember to bring your binocular thermal binocs with you too.
the thermals be there. We'll have, and the prox alarms will be there. We'll have all kinds of, excuse me, toys. I didn't mean for that to happen. Over that. So, blue ghost butterflies. Yep. All right. Well, it's 1:58. I think we're going to wrap, guys. Unless anybody's got any questions. Um, I appreciate y'all. Uh, thanks for coming. Thanks for spending time with us. I think we did. You know, I think we did New York, and I think we did Joe proud. So hopefully,
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think it is a good place to keep going back to, though.
and with that, I think we're going to head out.
Yep.
Let's see how this works. All right. They may not find out.
Find out. Good night, everybody.
How do you do that?
Dust trails whisper secrets to my feet. A winding path where earth and sky compete. The sun is low, but the spark is high. The trackway calls beneath the open sky. Finding the trackway where dreams collide. Through the wilderness where shadows hide. The heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way. A footprint older than the mountain's crest guides me onward toward the unexpressed. Every step a riddle, every step a clue. Through an ancient bond the soul feels new. Finding the trackway where dreams collide. Through the wilderness where shadows hide. The heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way. The rocks soft hum the melody of time. A chorus carved by nature's old design. The wind it hums a song inside my chest, saying find your journey, forget the rest. Finding the trackway where dreams collide. Through the wilderness where shadows hide. The heartbeats echo where the echoes play. On this path of wonder I'll find my way.